She doesn't answer?
Hey, yo, Eric! Welcome to the Firearm Files Podcast!
What's up, buddy?
What's up, guy? Bro, you sound like a waifu there, real quick. How y'all doing?
We are doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm excellent.
That's good. That's good.
So, Eric, let's get a little intro on who you are and...
Yeah, who are you? Nick? Eric? What's your name?
So, my name's Eric. Some people call me Nick. Yeah, and I was in the Navy for a while. And now I'm in the reserves. And, yeah, I like to shoot. Do martial arts. Yeah, kind of a cookie-cutter type person. But, yeah, that's me. Oh, and my opinions are my own and do not reflect any organization, person, entity that is outside of me. So that's my yeah. So now I can say the fun stuff because the feds know that they're my opinions. I speak on behalf of no one other than myself.
There you go, man. Well, we're happy to have you on this episode, man. It's always fun.
And we invite you to speak on the behalf of the gun community as a whole.
Awesome, I'll do that.
Okay, good. So tell us about the Navy, buddy.
Yeah, you get on boats and you work 12 to 14 hours a day, and then you get to a port, and guys, usually the first thing they do, they're like, all right, let's go to a restaurant and eat and drink. Sometimes they skip the eating part.
Yep.
No, there's good tourism, good travel opportunities. So there's that. And then, I mean, yeah, that's the Navy. Interestingly enough, more of the Navy's on the ground than is on boats. So for you young kids thinking about joining, you can finagle your way out of being on a boat if that's not your thing.
No. I've heard a little bit of riffraff about the Navy lately, and I got to confirm if this is true or not with you, Eric. I heard you're going to be cutting the budget for Navy SEALs and starting a new division of the Navy called the Navy Otters. Is that correct?
You'd have to ask the SEAL teams that.
I like it.
I had to throw that in there, dude. I saw this meme the other day, and it was freaking hilarious. It was this otter holding a water gun. I'm like, oh.
You know, I think we know the perfect guy that's in the Navy to start that division, though. No offense or anything, Eric, but...
We are the Otters.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll start a team.
And we have a great picture of you with some quad nods, bud. We
do. And that's going to be the cover image of this episode, actually, because why not? It's the coolest.
Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, girls try to say they have expensive shopping habits. That's 40 grand on a dude's head right there.
True that, man. And it's 40 grand that you didn't have to invest.
Yeah. I mean, didn't have to buy them. I'd give them back to the guy because, I wish those were mine.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll hit it big in crypto.
How about a little gun talk, buddy?
Yeah, let's do it. What's the first topic? Take us away.
All right.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, this has hit the media recently with the SIG talk with the 320. We have our opinions on it. There's a lot of opinions going around. SIG, I think, did a really interesting release to kind of...
stir the pot.
Yeah.
They stirred the pot.
They really did, in a sense. And they kind of wanted to put the fear into other gun companies, too, to say, look, they're aiming at us right now, and you might think that's cool, but you could be next. Yeah. So what's your thoughts? I mean, obviously, they're going after the liberal media is going after the SIG company as a whole right now for the 320, saying that it's dropping and will fire on its own. I mean, what are your thoughts, Eric? Just from the military side and also with your gun experience.
So there's an interesting take that I had seen recently, and I think it's a very good balanced take, and that is when you're talking about a company like SIG Sauer
It's
that is
interesting and validating.
making products across so many different sub like fields of the firearm industry, right? They've got precision guns, they've got handguns, they've got their AR style rifles, they're picking up military contracts. They're still trying to pick up a contract for the Army's new machine gun, right? They're doing so much, right? You're going to struggle to find the people and the time and the resources to do the kind of quality control that a smaller company is going to be able to do. You know, and that's at the end of the day, I think and I understand why they wouldn't say this, because obviously, like you said, you know, the media is going to attack them. But if they would just say like, hey, like we're innovating, we're doing experimental stuff, you know, just like understand that when you buy. I think if they would have led with that, I think people would have responded differently. But as far as like what like the gun community should do is, you know, don't jump on the bandwagon and just like criticize SIG because you want to argue with people on the internet. You know, don't tear them down, deflect all that crap away, and then handle it internally. You know, let the community solve its problems. Because I'll full disclosure, I own SIG Sauer products, and I think they're a blast. I have a Flux Raider.
Yep.
And I know people personally that they have carried a 365 macro, and from what I understand, that fire control group is a smaller version of what's in the 320, but you never hear anything bad about the 365. So at the end of the day, I think it's that they're producing so many units of that product for civilian and military that they just can't QC all of them to the degree that you would expect. I mean, you know, you produce 500,000 units, you know, what's 2%, 3% of 500,000? You know, you're talking about firearms where, you know, you want a sub 1%, you know, rate of problems. 2% is a lot. But I don't think that makes it objectively a bad gun.
Yeah.
You just I think you should know that going in, that like, hey, like you might have one of the 2%. Just understand that.
Yeah, so I think what you're making good point about is that SIG really has been targeted as a whole, because to be truthful, like if you drop a lot of handguns out there the wrong way and they hit the wrong spot of the gun, a lot of them will fire. So I think a lot of it's political, because SIG getting the military contract and the amount of money that's poured into their company, then because of that, it's just a lot of politics involved, which...
Anytime a company gets a military contract, there's a lot of politics involved.
Yeah, and what's it shown you? Like, Colt had trouble having a military contract. Daniel Defense, do they still hold part of the military contract on ARs?
Yes.
Right. But they're specific just to that AR market, which is cool.
And they're specific just to, like, certain units.
Yeah.
Also.
And to be truthful, Daniel Defense, they build like one handgun, the H9 or whatever, and it's nothing worth writing home about. So I think, you know, another point you said, Eric, is SIG is trying to do so much. They have ammunition they're manufacturing suppressors. They've got handguns, precision guns, ARs. We haven't seen a SIG shotgun yet, but that'll be next, you know?
I bet it's coming.
It probably is. And it's like, sometimes it is smarter to just say, look, you know, I think sometimes the American greed hits where a company's like, look, we can make more. Why wouldn't we make more? But sometimes it's good to step back and say, look, we're doing a fantastic job of what we're doing. Let's just keep doing that.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at a company like Henry. All they do is make lever guns, and they make arguably some of the best lever guns on the market. You know, they like look at Glock. Glock makes what is essentially the same handgun in different sizes and different cartridges, but it's basically the same thing. You know, and they continue to sell Glocks. So But yeah, it's there's pros and cons to both. And you know what though? I appreciate them innovating because that innovation, I think, is going to continue to drive the R&D of the gun space as a whole forward. I think them tinkering and doing stuff is going to give other people ideas, and you're going to see products branch off. Other people saying, "I like what SIG did, but I think I can do it better." And I think it's an overall like net good for the firearm industry.
Yeah, I would agree. I think SIG's innovation has been good. I think the issue now, though, is you have to think from their standpoint. Like, if one person's allowed to sue you for what they say is a failure of the firearm, when we know that it's most likely somebody putting their trigger finger on the gun to make it fire, right? It's like if one person's allowed to get away with it and the gun manufacturer is to blame, then you have all these other guys that who else is going to come forth and do it, right?
Exactly.
It's an opportunity. And then what it does is you don't realize, but if a company if there's a lawsuit, let's say that they lose, and let's say they lose 10 million to one guy, 10 million to another, 5 to another guy, it sounds like nothing to a company that's worth maybe, 500 million or a billion even. I don't know what they're worth, but it's like probably a billion, I would assume.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of money. But, when you do that, what you're not realizing is that you're pulling money directly from their profits, which it takes so much to get that profit. Like, there is so much work involved to get that profit.
Yeah, and it sets bad precedents too, because now a person will say, the powers that be will get together and say, well, we can't sue a huge company, but we can knock the little guy out and start to chip away slowly but surely. And then that's how you get these small gun companies that make really, really good products that, they are in serious danger because they just don't have the liquid cash to hire a legal team to defend themselves in court.
Yeah, it comes back to the little guy versus the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though we're talking the little guy and the big guy that are roughly on the same side,
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Dude, are you familiar with the Ruger Precision Rifle?
Yes. It's the the bolt gun. It's built out to be more of like a bench type gun almost, rather than a more traditional hunting rifle.
Yeah,
I've
very good.
I've not personally shot one, but it's because I have all kinds of expensive hobbies.
Yeah,
but I'd like to shoot one if anyone wants to let me take a swing at it.
What other hobbies do you have, Nick?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I digress. Yeah, I mean I think is known for their 1022, and it's iconic. Competes for the title of being the most popular rifle in America.
Yeah.
Alongside the AR, make very solid revolvers at a good price point too. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you could go wrong with a Ruger Precision. Not everybody needs to go and grab, a custom build with a Bergara barrel. I think for a lot of people, a Ruger Precision, practical accuracy out to 700-800 yards is
absolutely
what a lot of people need.
Yeah,
it's a great intermediate level bench gun
for a good value that you honestly,
really good value.
So the reason we're talking about this gun, we have a Ruger Precision in 6.5 PRC sitting in front of us right now on the table here, and so we're going to talk about that gun because that gun is in inventory right now. It's for sale here at the Firearm Files. You can reach out if you're interested in a Ruger Precision rifle, and we stock this rifle because of the value that it is and how well it is built. You're not wasting money on this gun. You're not getting the highest end precision gun on the market, but all in all, you can grab a decent Vortex scope or a decent Leupold, throw it on this rifle and make it into a badass precision gun and do really well with it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about it, dude? What do you like about it?
Dude, it's fully customizable. I love it.
So when you say that, just talk about how you would customize this.
Arca rail system is the biggest selling point. Factory threaded. Personally, I would take that rail off and put a new Picatinny rail for an optic. Put like a 20 MOA on.
Longer?
No, angled.
Oh, you mean angled? Okay.
So you don't run out of elevation adjustments. Adjustable comb and length of pull is a really nice feature. Full length M-lock. If you want to put I don't know what you would put on this other than a
Yeah, I mean, the M-lock.
bipod.
Yeah, a bipod's what it needs.
Put a Streamlight or Surefire and a laser and
No.
chainsaw.
No.
What about you, Nick?
Right.
Eric? Nick?
So for me, I think I would run a suppressor, direct thread.
100%. Which can would you pick for this?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, Dead Air is a solid brand. That's the one that's coming to mind right now is Dead Air. But yeah, something on the longer, thicker side.
Dead Air,
more
Nomad.
baffles. Yeah, something like that. More baffles. Make it. You're not going to diminish that crack, but you can make it very, very quiet at the muzzle, and that's what I would go for.
The Nomad 30 long.
Yes.
The L.
That's
Yeah, and then
that gun.
Dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, for optics, Vortex has been my preference. That's what I've used, and it's done very well for me. And then I think what I would do is a little bit different. Is I would get a laser rangefinder that mounts on top of the scope rings, so that instead of carrying a piece of equipment with me that I have to tie to myself or put in a pocket, that I can set down and forget it's just on the rifle, and then just tape a push pad, and I can just go and I can get my own ranges and then just make adjustments.
What about a red dot
just like that
on top of your scope? How do you feel about that?
on a bolt gun?
Yes, sir.
For a close
not,
range.
So
No, it's not for close range.
not maybe I could see an use case for it, because there are techniques that have been taught to certain, I think, Marine scout snipers, or when they had scout snipers, were taught this. There's a way that they would teach them to clear buildings essentially with their M40 rifles. So I could see an use case for like very niche situations, or if you're getting into a spot where you've got like, a 6 or an 8 power, like minimum magnification on your scope, and you want something that's, 1x that you can scan at, 50, 100 yards, or even out to 2 or 3, right? Get your dot on it and then come down to your scope. So there's certainly a use case for it. There's certainly work for that attachment to do on that rifle, but that's, I wouldn't say that's a
secondary.
It's a secondary thing. You don't need that to finish building the rifle.
Yeah, so
it's just for kicks and giggles.
It's a PRS thing.
It's a PRS thing, yeah. So I think if you're rocking this gun and you're deploying this gun for any kind of battle situation, you also are going to have some kind of battle AR with you. There ain't no doubt about that. So it's like, on this type of gun, I like your thought, Eric, that you run that rangefinder on top of the optic, because you're reaching out there with this gun. It's nice to get that information in and have it right there, man. It lines right up with the bore axis. It's perfect, Anyhow, we're going to move on to the next topic here, Eric. So 10 millimeter, the cartridge, making a comeback in the industry. And recently, Ryan, what is new in 10 millimeter?
Brand new gun out now. The Smith Wesson FPC in 10 millimeter. Finally, after they teased us as a cruel joke in 40 cal.
Why would they even do that?
Just to piss us off. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Eric?
I think that in 50 years, people our age are going to look at kids that are our age now and say 10 millimeter is the Lord's caliber.
True that.
Great.
True that.
So no personal experience with 10 millimeter, but the people that I have spoken with have said great things about it. You see a lot of hunting guides out west switching over to 10 millimeter. Yeah, I mean it's solid. It packs a punch, and I believe for less weight than a 45 does. It was higher capacity than a 45.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. It's just falls within this trend of what we've seen with ammunition, where guys, these mad lads, are just getting after it, necking up, necking down cartridges to make different stuff happen, and a lot of them miss. I think 10 millimeter is going to hit, and I think it's in a similar spot now to what 6.5 Creedmoor was when it came out, where people like it. It has a following. It absolutely performs as advertised, and it's just a question of, is the buyer's market going to expand to a point that the production market has a reason to expand to meet that?
I think it's already expanding as we speak right now. I mean, ammo prices have come down dramatically. More guns are coming to the market every year, chambered in 10 mil.
Yeah, and the FPC is just a good example of that, because the FPC in 9 is arguably the most popular firearm in the past 2 years as far as
it's a bug out gun.
It really is like a carbine style pistol caliber carbine. So, I don't know. I think it's awesome for Smith & Wesson to be doing this. They should have just forgotten about the 40 cal, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. But there's just not enough people using 40 cal anymore.
No, but you got like the retired cops that have like 10,000 rounds of 40 cal
That's
sitting
true.
at home. Here's a gun for you to shoot your department issued ammo, even though you retired 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, very interesting. Congrats to Smith on getting that release out there. We're looking forward to seeing one and getting them to move through the Firearm Files. So if you're looking for one of those FPCs, give us a call, give us an email or something. Reach out through our website, firearmfiles.com. And any gun you're looking for that's unique and interesting, reach out. We can add you to a list and look for it for you and get it for you.
We will find it.
Yes.
Somehow.
So that's awesome. Eric, I'm so glad you could hop in on this episode with us today. Stay safe, brother. As always, it's been a blast.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, Eric.
Maybe see if I can get you a cardboard cutout of me next time, so I can be there in spirit.
Oh, you know what? This is actually a really good idea. So we will buy one of like a supermodel. We're gonna print out a picture of your face and just post it right on there.
There you go.
That is a winning idea. I like that.
I like it.
Awesome. Well, hey, buddy, take care, man. Appreciate it. Ryan, do you have anything before we sign off for the episode?
I think that's it, bud.
That's it, man. This has been a great episode. Yeah. And check out our website, thefirearmfiles.com. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Comment, share. If you are unsubscribed and you were a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button again, because we don't know why YouTube does that, but things do happen, I guess.
We have a lot of interesting videos coming soon.
We do. We're working on a lot of cool things.
We have a plan for new video content.
We do, yes.
Smash that subscribe button, and while you're at it, start arguments in the comment section. Make it get absolutely unhinged in a PG way, because these gentlemen would like to stay up on YouTube.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, tell us your hot takes. Tell us why 17-2-2-3 is a perfectly valid round to make a build.
Hey,
About-
hey. That's a great round. A 17 CAC is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say sayonara.
Yeah, sayonara. Follow us on Instagram also at the Firearm Files. And that's it.
All right.
We're all done.
Hey, later.
All right. Bye.
Let's do it.
Until next time, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Firearm Files Podcast. Have a good one.